Welcome to Issues and Answers with Diane Kinderwater. Issues and Answers is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. And now, Issues and Answers with your host, Diane Kinderwater.
Welcome to the program. I'm Diane Kinderwater. Have you ever experienced this? I certainly have. I have found that finding a job is tougher than doing the job. Have you found that? I mean, it's tough out there. And a friend recently told me her son, who earned his PhD after years and years of study, thought after a year of looking for a job as a college professor that he got it, only to find out that he didn't get the job and he was still looking. Well, it is tough out there, and it reminds me of the motivational American folk story. That's the little engine that could. Remember that? I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. And then you find out that it takes perseverance, determination, and believing in oneself to find a job. Well, that's tough for all of us, especially for those who have had perhaps setbacks in their life, perhaps with domestic violence, mental illness, substance abuse, maybe even a touch of homelessness. I mean, how do you find a job if you're homeless? Well, guess what? Bernalillo County has come to the rescue and is setting the employment scene on fire with its new FLAME program. FLAME? Well, we're going to tell you all about FLAME right after this and how it's helping those who perhaps were hopeless to have some hope in finding a job. We'll be back. We perhaps know that many Bernalillo County residents find it's very tough to be financially self-sustaining. Of course, they want to be self-reliant. They want to be able to raise their family on their own, but a lot of people have to depend on public assistance. Well, that's until now, because now we have the FLAME program, Foundational Learning Assistance for Maintaining Employment. FLAME is providing employment training opportunities for residents looking for a fresh start or perhaps a second beginning. And we have my guests here to share all about FLAME, and my guests are on fire. Are you on fire today? Cindy Weasel Bear is the talent manager for Bernalillo County. Welcome to the program, Cindy. Lex Wenberg is a FLAME trainee. Lex, big smile there, big shout out. He's a media guy, so he likes being on TV. And Lisa Chavez is the senior training specialist, and she is an instructor on part of this program. And wow, I love the name FLAME. It's a little bit of a mouthful. Foundational, got to set a foundation, Learning Alliance for Maintaining Employment. Cindy, take it away. You've been working for Bernalillo County in the human resources, not just for this FLAME program, which is just a year old, but knowing the struggles that folks have out there.
Absolutely. So FLAME really comes from the knowing and understanding from the county that there are a lot of employers that want to grow their business and struggle to find good employees to do that. And then there are individuals out there that want a good, sustainable job that they feel good in. And there's kind of a gap there. So we built the bridge, and we call it FLAME.
And tell me the mechanics. Actually, tell me the mechanics of it a little bit.
With the FLAME program, our trainees are able to get additional professional education. So they're able to get that throughout the year. It's part of the program. They're paid to go to training and learn additional, not only life skills, communication skills, office skills, right? So different products like Excel, budgeting, you name it. We set them up so that they have every opportunity to learn to network, to feel confident in, in themselves and ready to go out into the workforce.
So it's a year-long training program where people are paid minimally $17.50 an hour.
Right.
They're paid for these jobs. And in addition, they receive training. They get to rotate jobs 4 times. And also, they get to believe in themselves.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Tell me, please, Cindy, the type of person who would come. This was designed for people who had a hard time finding a job or believing in themselves or needed a second chance.
Yes, exactly. So, any one of us we don't know what tomorrow holds, and any one of us could find ourselves in a situation where we're in the same boat, where we need a second chance. And so in the program, they get 4 chances to start new jobs. They get to experience what that is, to start with a new supervisor. We want them to experience different types of work. We have individuals who've come in who maybe never worked in an office, always worked like digging ditches or some kind of labor job.
Landscaping job.
Whatever that might be. So we want to expose them to their skills.
But we're talking about people who perhaps are former inmates.
Yeah. We actually teach we have an employability workshop that's kind of a pre-class and helps them qualify for the program. We actually teach that in the facilities.
But we're talking about inmates, women, men or women who have domestic violence problems, homeless people.
Substance abuse recovery individuals. We've done a lot of private closed-door sessions because one of the requirements to get into Flame and to apply is that you have taken the employability workshop or qualified in a couple other ways. But that employability workshop, we're going around and making that available to those who don't have access to it any other way, so that they're ready for it. So when the inmates do get released, they've already got that under the belt. They can apply to the job rotation program.
But don't inmates have their own program?
They have a lot of different services there, but this is different.
Okay.
This is different.
So people who have challenged in their life. And then we have Lex, who doesn't have those challenges. Even though you served in the Navy, you don't have PTSD, not homeless, not mental illness, not an inmate, served our country, came back to New Mexico, Bernalillo County, and couldn't find a job.
It was difficult, yeah. I applied every day for years almost, and yeah, it was a struggle for sure.
Why, Lex?
Well, there's a number of reasons. A lot is that there's like a pay bracket that I'm kind of on either side of. I have enough skills to start a skilled position, but then I didn't have I had too many skills for like a lower skilled position. So I was kind of in this gap area. So it was tough to find something.
And you looked.
I looked. Oh yeah. I spent a lot of time.
Job fairs, or what did you do?
I did job fairs. I worked through the state. I forgot what they call it. It's on Mountain Street, and I went through them a bunch. Exactly, and then you just applied.
Nobody could help you?
I mean, unfortunately, no. It was pretty rough until I found this job fair with the county. And
tell me a little bit about that. How you found Flame, or how Flame found you?
It was actually the job fair was listed on that New Mexico Connect, I think they call it, website, and I was like, oh, that's perfect because I want a stable government job, and so I went looking, and then they told me that there's this program that will give me experience in a number of different situations, and I was like, that sounds perfect for where I'm at in my career, and so I got into an interview, and my military counted for the some of the requirements to get in. So it was a pretty lucky break for me, and
you've been in. We're going to talk a little bit later about the 4 rotations and all you've done. Yes. But you've been in the program for about a year.
Yes.
Okay, ready to graduate, Lex.
Absolutely.
We're going to hear about all that. But Cindy, when you find people like Lex or others in the program, you're instructor.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about what you instruct them. What needs you've seen people have it. I think that was a good example. I know people who just were landscapers. I said, we want a little bit more than that now.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges a lot of these folks go through is really adapting to new environments, and again, having that confidence to really apply and feel like they have the skills that are needed for some of the roles that they really want, but oftentimes hesitate to apply to. So, and that may be because of their records, or because
What do you mean their records?
They may have some type of criminal record. As Cindy alluded to, we do have some classes, or at least one class that we've done with our MDC folks. And a lot of those ladies were really excited to have a lot of these skill sets, being able to build on some of those skill sets and having that opportunity to potentially work at the county as a job rotation trainee. So what we focus on is helping them gain the adaptability skills, first and foremost, communication, because sometimes that's the hardest thing, going into a new role in an area that you're just not accustomed to working in, like a professional setting. And then we teach them a lot more skills that will translate to other jobs and other roles.
So they take, Lisa, they are working in a job, either for the county or a private employer.
Right.
And again, the state, actually, the city, county taxpayers pay for this, $17.50 an hour. So the program pays their salary. Yeah. But in addition to working, 2 times a week they have training?
It's 2 times a month, so it's a total of 6 to 8 hours of training that they'll get in a given month, which is quite a lot if you look at that through the course of the year. And it's paced in a way that they will always have it refreshed, meaning if they touch on a content or a piece of content or learning one week, later on down the line, maybe it's next month, maybe it's the next training class, they'll get that they'll build off of that into maybe new content. Or
Lex, what about the training? Did you just want to work?
It was excellent, actually. It was a nice break, and what I found, I found.
It's motivational too.
Exactly, and what I found is that I was able to apply the concepts from the training in the workplace, like when I would go back on Monday.
Can you give me an example of that?
I was working with Excel, and when I started in my accounting phase, which I'd never done before. I had no idea.
I need that.
No, it was really good exposure though. So when I went, I already had some idea of how to use the program that they use mainly, which is Excel. So then I just built off that in the position. So it was very cool.
Cindy, people who are watching this, who should they tell? Their nephews, their kids,
everybody,
their grandmother. Yeah. Who should contact you?
Anybody who's interested in either learning more, being a part of it, being a volunteer, being an employer, hosting a trainee, anybody who wants to be involved, reach out, because we are all about collaboration.
And how do they find you?
They can email me at cweaselbear@bernco.gov.
C Weaselbear.
At Bernco, BERNCO.gov.
Or they could easily Google Flame.
Yep.
That's how I found
You can
Flame.
go to bernco.gov/flame also.
Candidates to be part of the program, what do they need to do to become part of the program?
It's actually quite easy. So there's three basic things. They either are an honorably discharged veteran, they are a recent intern of the county, or they have completed the Employability Workshop, which is the one that we take into the jails and
Okay, tell me a little bit about that workshop.
Well, the workshop is 20 hours long. It's free to the public. We do open public sessions that people can sign up for on that same webpage. And we do private sessions for certain demographics, right? Like, I'm not going to bring in the public into the jail, so we do them there as well. And that class really prepares you for work, is what it's all about. And Lisa teaches that as well. And we have a couple other trainers that also.
So you have to take 20, you have to pass something in the.
Yeah, you have to show up and participate.
And then once you graduate from that 20-hour class.
You've met one of the eligibility requirements.
And then you can what, sign up?
Apply it's a regular job within the county. It's called Job Rotation Trainee. We post it on our career site when we're open for more positions to be filled. You apply, you go through the same process you would go through if you were applying for any other job. And you interview
But that's to be part of the Flame program.
The Flame program is 2 parts. The Employability Workshop and the Job Rotation Trainee program.
Well, you do the workshop.
We do the workshop.
And then you apply to be part of this year-long program.
Yes, you apply for that position.
But they're applying for a position, but 20 hours of training, does that teach them enough to receive that job?
Yes, it actually does.
It scratches the surface on some of it, but it primes them with some of the skill sets that are most important going into applying for a job. It's like interview preparation, giving them tips, tricks, feedback on how to interview, resume help, how to fill out a job application, because there's a lot of things that can go wrong or that will automatically eliminate you from the running of any job that you apply for if you do one of those things incorrectly. And a lot of folks just don't have that knowledge. So we do give them those skill sets, and it helps them with the application process for Flame and anywhere else.
And then you got to apply for Flame.
Yep.
Apply for the job rotation trainee portion, yes.
Well, some people aren't accepted.
That's correct. It's based on budget.
Okay.
So we may get 30 applications and only have 15 seats available. It's possible.
How often do you offer these jobs?
Well, we're getting ready to put it out on the career site again.
So I mean, every quarter.
Well, we were doing every quarter. We're that was for launching to get it going. And now we're looking at once or twice a year.
Okay.
Starting
and
new
what's
groups.
shocking? It's just been a year long. I mean, you started this in 2024. Wow. Where did the idea come from, Cindy?
Just wanting to give back to the community, HR departments in general, across, all HR is pretty internal focused. But as a county organization, it's our job to also look out to the community and to service the community. And so this is one way that our HR department can do that.
You are a partnership with other jobs, but the 4 rotation jobs are perhaps in the county, but also in some local businesses.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me a little bit about that, Cindy.
Well, we have opportunities for anybody, any external employer who wants to participate. We have a handful right now that have different trainees working today as we're here. Some nonprofits, some profits, some new ones coming on board, and they just really want to support the program.
You had 4 rotations.
Correct.
What types of jobs did you do? Let's start with your first
Right,
one.
my first one was probate court, and I had no idea what that was when I showed up. So it was a really good intro to what the county does for for the constituents, for the people of the community. It was, and I don't know if your viewers know what probate is. It's when someone dies, their assets need to be
probated.
Yes, exactly.
Whatever that means.
Exactly,
Okay.
distributed to their family, and they need official kind of a probate judge to determine who gets what, et cetera. And it's not a disputed court. It's when the whole family's in agreement that this person should be able to divvy up the assets. Anyway, so
And what did you do there?
I ran the front desk and answered questions to the public. I was the front-facing person for them.
And your second job?
And my second job was with the accounting job that I was telling you about. That was a new one for me too. So it was, and it's the background, right? We were covering the money and how it's spent in the county, and learning to like approve or disapprove of certain expenses and stuff like that. So
And what was that? What department was that?
that's fleet and facilities management, it's called. So that's basically a lot of what gets done in the county. And so yeah, it was a pretty unique place to see the county from.
And your
Is
third
how the
one?
money works. And my third was with the video department. So we were producing videos about the county to the public and controlling messaging that way. It was really cool. I learned a lot from those guys. They were refreshing some of the stuff I'd learned in the Navy, but also teaching me new skills.
Cool. Okay, we're going to find out what job you landed. But what types of jobs outside the county can?
Oh, man,
What kind of
all
partnerships? You said
kinds.
nonprofits and some.
Yeah,
small
every business has different types of work. So we have some that have 3 or 4 trainees in their company, and they do different things. We have one early childhood development, working with youth. We have one IT.
Wait. Early childhood development.
Yeah, so they're taking care of kids, right? Not by themselves, but it's part of one of the programs of one of our nonprofits. And so we have a trainee placed with that nonprofit that gets involved.
Well, it's like a
with that.
daycare or something else.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
And then they have IT, they have facilities. We have one coming on board here pretty quick that's solar. We have others that do.
So a solar company. What would a trainee be doing at a solar company?
Well, we're working on that right now. They're coming on board, so we have to define all of that. But, they'd be working beside someone who knows what they're doing and getting that experience. So.
great. Other businesses?
Yeah, there are a lot. There's, I'm just trying to think of them all. You know, a lot of facilities work, and then internal to the county, we have, you know, mechanic work, we have animal care, we have, like Lex said, down at the media team, and
Now, do the jobs, Lisa, train the people? I mean, let's say I'm working for the solar company. Will they be training them to do the job, or will you, the county?
I wish I was a jack of all trades and could do that for every single line of business or external company, but it's best trained by those that work within those organizations because they're the experts.
And they take on that willingness to do that, Cindy, to take on the training?
Yeah.
Now, is the trainee always with another person, or do they do the job themselves during the 4 months?
it depends. It can change. So in the beginning, they would be on pretty good supervision. As they grow and they develop and they show the ability to do some things, maybe that lightens up a little bit. It just depends on the trainee, you know. And they have a variety of challenges. You know, we get challenged with transportation issues and, you know, just different things as they're trying to get accustomed to being back in the work world. So,
Other than getting a job, getting to the job is it right? That's the next toughest one. Getting the job is tough, but getting to the job
yeah,
is a challenge that we have.
yep.
What would you like to touch upon that I haven't asked yet?
I think I would just like to share how different some of these individuals are from when they first started and what that does for them, the hope that it gives to them. I keep thinking about a particular individual who, when I first met this person, they wouldn't even look you in the eye. They were so hopeless and feeling shame for the, you know, needing the second chance and what brought them to that place. And then, you know, they change. They change over the time that they're there. And this particular person now is really good at public speaking and participates in things to
What
help
was
us
that
out.
person's background? Why did they need a second
They
chance?
came from the recovery side.
So drug addiction type of thing. Okay.
Substance abuse.
Substance abuse.
Yep. So I'm sure at some point they, you know, had a run-in with the law because most of them have. And so they were pretty shameful when I first met them. They just didn't feel like they were valuable. And
Did
to
they
give
say
them
they
that hope,
did they try to find something on their own, or they just didn't
We
even
didn't-
have the confidence in that?
no, no confidence. So and not really knowing who they were. Some of these folks don't, and that's the thing about, you know, being in the workforce development industry for so long. So many programs out there have individuals declare up front what it is they want to pursue for a career, and not everybody knows that, you know. And so by rotating them through these different positions, we give them that opportunity to see, do they like working inside, outside, with their hands, with their mind, you know, what are they good at, what do they feel joy doing, right? And
Now
so
we're going to find from Lex what was your third or fourth rotation, and what kind of job
That's
are you
with the
landing?
clerk's department in the Bureau of Elections. So I've worked in the warehouse where they have all the vote ballot counting machines, and I've worked in the office itself doing front-facing, public-facing voter registration. And I just got hired last week permanently. I will be starting next Monday as a permanent employee of the Bureau of Elections.
And you had to apply for the job? I mean,
Yes.
you were working, that was one of
Yeah.
your rotations?
I was already doing the job, so
Okay.
it was kind of, you know, they had some competition for the position, but yeah, I guess I won out, and now
So you were doing the job as one of your rotations,
Yes.
and then
I applied internally, and they
hired
liked
you.
me, so yeah.
Lucky them,
Yeah.
Lex.
Lucky me too.
Lucky you and lucky them.
Yeah.
Lisa, what would you like to touch upon? What's kind of surprising about our society and the people this day and age, and the skills that they don't have?
I think the biggest thing that really surprised me going into, you know, coming from the private sector into the public sector and starting to facilitate these courses is just the willingness for people to learn, even though they come from really tough backgrounds, and they're really candid about what they are struggling with, as well as what they need and what they're hoping for. And I love their willingness to go into, these classes and learn as much as possible. And just really, honestly, the biggest, I guess the biggest thing I'm proud of is just how much they grow through this program. And I think that was really much more surprising than I was hoping for it, but it really surprised me at how big their growth has been over time.
It just seems that society just knocks people down. I mean, not society, but confidence. I've always felt there's a lack of confidence that people have not to try to reach a goal. Except you had the confidence and you were working so hard. That's what surprises me.
Yeah, it was tough.
Lex.
It was really tough. But I mean, it does get to you, like enough
Yes.
rejections and you're like, okay, what's going on here? So it's not like it was a cakewalk or, and it wasn't like I had the confidence every single application,
Yeah.
But working with Lisa and Cindy, like they supported me the whole way through, and feeling that support, that professional and sort of personal support, can really like help you achieve a lot.
Maybe some other counties throughout the state could start this program, or throughout the country. Congratulations, Cindy.
Yeah,
on
we have
doing
had some
this.
calls from outside the state.
I bet. I thought it came from outside the state, but
Nope.
it came from within our county, Bernalillo
Yep, our
County.
very own county HR.
Congratulations. Cindy Weasel-Bear, Talent Manager for Bernalillo County. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lex, thanks for congratulations. Good
Thank
going, working. And Lisa Chavez, thank you for your delight on the program to share the positive nature and how you were pleasantly surprised that people are willing to learn more and to improve their lives and to give back. And thanks to the county and, of course, for those private businesses out there who are willing to take on some extra people. And again, it's our taxpayers. We thank them as well for paying for such a program to help give hope in our community. I'm Diane Kinderwater. Thanks for watching the program. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Issues and Answers with your host Diane Kinderwater is presented as a public service to inform, educate, and better the lives of New Mexicans. To comment on today's program, email us at info@kchftv.org or call us at 505-345-1991. Join us again for Issues and Answers with Diane Kinderwater.